The second annual Xhosa Carnival held at Nqadu Great Palace in Willowvale in the Eastern Cape focused on reminding South Africans about the role that they need to play to develop themselves for the benefit of the country. The carnival is also aimed at promoting the Xhosa tradition, and the festival is being hosted by His Majesty Kumkani, Mpendulo, Zwelonke, Sigcawu of the AmaXhosa and the Xhosa Kingdom. Our reporter Zimkhitha Manqinana was there.
The second annual carnival of AmaXhosa has been attended by young and old to celebrate who they are. But this is a place where they are also reminded about their roles that they need to play in society. And there was a session this morning which included young people and elderly people as well, teaching women and men of the role that they need to take part to lead their families and not to lead them astray. But now we're going to speak to some of the people who were leading that session, and now I'm joined by Dr. Nomfundo Mali, who is the founder of the Widows Program. Did I get it correct? Widows Empowerment Program. Let's talk about women and their role in society. What is the role of a Xhosa woman in society?
As Xhosa women, we have great wisdom. And our wisdom is reflected more when we leave our land and go outside of our Xhosa nations to gather experience, to learn more. But what is wise is to come back and plow back to your community what you've learned, and also to share. You know, it's good to share a slice of bread with your neighbor. And we are very good to pull each other in moving forward. So that is part of what I am doing, working with widows.
Okay, there are many hardships that are faced by rural women. How can they tackle those hardships, the issues of poverty, the issues of abuse, being abused by their own children and their own husbands? We have seen not so long ago at AmaXhosa, there was a woman who was hacked to death, being accused that she is a witchcraft. Not far from her village, there was another two that were killed in the same manner. How should women, rural women, deal with such issues?
Standing together. You know, we have a tendency of keeping ourselves into corners, nursing fears, nursing pain, nursing grief. But if we stand together as women, share our pain, and learn not to laugh at each other, but to support each other. In that way, you're able to open your mind to know that you don't have to own a pain. You don't have to own grief, but sharing with other people, you're also pulling yourself out of that circumstance.
Thank you very much for your time. Well, it doesn't start when you are an elderly woman, but it starts at the early age of 9 years. So they say the upbringing, the way you were raised as a child, is also as important as how you will become when you grow older. But now we're just going to speak to another woman who's going to tell us about the role of young people now. Because Udok was telling us about elderly women who are leaders in society, but now there are children who need to be guided in a certain way. How should a Xhosa girl take pride in who they are to be this perfect woman that she will become later in her life?
Actually, Zimkhitha was talking about the lady in a family which is called Dadabao. Dadabao is the sister to my father and your father. Dadabao in an isiXhosa family culture plays a very prominent role. For an example, she takes care of the children of her brother, starting from his wife, the children, and the whole family. Dadabao is very important in Xhosa culture.
I think we call Dadobao an aunt in English, even though in Xhosa these types of aunts are differentiated. There's umakazi, there's udadobao. Okay, now let's talk about udadobao as a woman who raises children who no longer have parents. what is the role of Dadobawo in making sure that those children do not go astray in terms of their traditional beliefs? Because now Dadobawo becomes the man in the family in the absence of the parents of this child.
In fact, Dadobawo, Zimkhitha, is just like the father of the children. She plays everything that the father is supposed to do to his family or to his children. Even if the father dies, Dadobawo will take care of everything. School initiation, I mean, if it's girls, they have to be told how to be wives. I mean, all the roles of the girls, Dadobawo takes care of that.
Thank you very much for your time. Well, we would not be doing justice to this carnival if we do not talk about the role of men, because there is a belief in society that men are abusers, men are the ones who are crippling society. But now we're just going to speak to a traditionalist, Mr. Nqadu, who's going to tell us about the role of men in society. Otata kuthiwa zidlengu, kuthiwa basela utywala, a lot of things. They're called different names, but you are here as a traditionalist and as a strong believer that can change. What is it that you think is important for Xhosa men to implement in their societies to change this narrative?
Against that background of men as abusers, against that background of men as cheaters and everything that is very unbecoming, we stand to remind men we can't be true fathers if we do not start by being real men. Being a real man starts from the oath that has been taken at the initiation school. After the traditional sergeant has done his job, instead of crying, the initiates, they say ndiyindoda. Being ndiyindoda means ndoda ndife ndimele inyaniso. Ndoda ndife amandla am ndiwasebenzisa ukukhusela uluntu ndiliphakamisele igama lakho kwethu. We discourage men from being involved in all the things that are unbecoming. We discourage men from being childbearers all over the world. We discourage men from beating and abusing their spouses. We encourage men to stand on one side, protect our families, take the leading role in our society. We work hard in order to feed our offspring, send them to school, have our time with our families. That's what we preach as part of moral regeneration.
Thank you very much for your time. Well, there's also entertainment lined up. A number of artists from the Eastern Cape and outside the Eastern Cape are here to entertain young people, so that even though they have been given the serious lessons, they are also motivated by seeing people who grew up in these rural areas, entertaining them, and they are now national artists. They all come here from the Eastern Cape. But for now, it's back to you in Johannesburg.